I'm told that Tim was mostly pissed off at Warren, not at me. He thinks I'm epic, as well he should.
I've been getting a lot of comments from individuals about the debate I had with Andrew Wilson, I think like a year ago on the issue of rights. Warren Smith made a video discussing this, and he said, Tim Pool discovers why Andrew Wilson is unstoppable. And there's been a bunch of back and forth. When we did the debate, there were a lot of people in our chat saying Andrew Wilson's not listening, as well as people saying, Tim, you're not listening. And I think the issue...
Wait, a lot of people? There was a lot of people saying that, Tim, or not so many people?
Is we were largely debating two different things, but I will stand...
No, we were definitely debating the same thing.
...stand by my opinion. What I find largely interesting about the whole circumstance pertaining to Warren Smith's video is people saying Tim Pool refuses to accept that he's wrong. Well, first and foremost, if it's a fact-based issue, I always admit when I'm wrong, when I get it wrong, and I fact-check it on the spot and say, oh, actually, you were correct about that, which happens routinely often, which I tend to get praise for. But we're talking about philosophies, and we're...
but those are still fact-based issues. Doesn't it require philosophy to even have an empirical claim ultimately? Finally, able to give back. Thanks for all you do. You really helped me grow and my family. Thank you, old man. Force is strong in your hair tonight. Yes, yes, it is.
Talking about moral distinctions. We're talking about the nature of reality. Why would I immediately sacrifice my worldview? And why would anyone make the assumption that I had not actually thought through my position on the matter when I rant about them to a great degree? So for that...
Doesn't mean you thought them through. Like, there's a lot of people who rant about a lot of shit. That doesn't mean that they think it through. Like, communists every single day are always ranting about communism. Doesn't mean they thought that shit through. By the way, thank you for the 5 gifted Crucible memberships. Here's your crown, sir. Appreciate it. Those of you sending 1 membership, you only get regular red ball. You don't get the golden balls, bro.
I think it's a great opportunity to talk about this debate and rights. Firstly, saying I'm not a debater, so I'm not going to pretend to be good at debating. I am a guy who has strong opinions, and if I can back them up by a logical assessment, I will. And if someone presents to me a logical assessment, which I feel I've already considered.
Look, it's kind of cope here, I will admit. Kind of cope because, like, if you go to the culture war, Tim Pool has 2 people on to debate and then does 90% of the debate. So, just saying. Not with me. When I go on, he doesn't do that with me, but I've noticed that he does, if he's like, well, this guy kind of sucks, he'll literally just do the debate himself, so.
And have already dismissed for a variety of reasons, and they don't answer for it.
Thank you, Jack.
And I'm not going to accept it. I assume Andrew Wilson is largely the same way, which is why I think it's silly to be either mad at either of us when the issue is an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. But I will assert that I'm correct, and I'll break down exactly what my thoughts and views are with respect.
Well, I will assert that you are not correct, Tim.
Respect to Andrew Wilson, I consider a friend. Yeah. Not like we hang out or anything, but he's been on the show several times, and I think he's a great personality, and there's a clear reason why he does a good job in these debates.
Yeah, so same thing here. I think it's perfectly acceptable for Tim Pool to give any criticisms post-show that he wants to give on my performance on his show. I'm a guest there, and I think that that's totally reasonable. I have nothing at all against him. Him and his staff have always treated me with nothing but the utmost respect. Nothing but the utmost respect. They always fly us out. They always keep their word. They're great. They're fantastic. Got not a single bad word to say about them. But that said, if you're gonna critique my arguments, totally fair for me to critique yours back.
But let's assess this video from Warren Smith. Now, I'll say first and foremost, I don't believe Warren Smith understands my argument. I think many people didn't understand my argument, and I don't think the
I think that's probably right.
Debate structure between Andrew Wilson and I, which was impromptu and just happened during IRL, was the appropriate medium to break down my moral views on what a right is and why I argued the way I did. But let's actually take the time to do it because it's fun, and that's what these things are for.
Who let you back in the chat, Adrian? Adrian FR, who let you back in the chat? I'll let you stay there, Adrian, but you have to promise shut the f up because you're just a derailer. Every time I look over, you're derailing. So if you promise to shut the f up, Adrian, I'll let you stay. But I already got a feeling that you're just going to get kicked out of here in like 5 minutes.
Oh, wait. There's no audio now. I snapped my fingers and I was like, let's go. And there's no audio. Let's try that again. Start from the beginning. It's not letting me start from the beginning.
To really know what hit him here.
You have no right to do except whatever you can enforce.
Right. I'm going to, well.
You know, if you outline, if you were to outline my argument with a single sentence, my whole worldview in a single sentence, it would be that sentence. So, you know, if you were to outline that whole worldview in one sentence, I feel like I just kind of hit it out of the ballpark with that one. Sorry, but Tim Pool's a sellout. By the way, your hair looks clean. Thank you. No, I don't know if he's a sellout, bro. I think that's a bit naive.
Let me.
Your mechanism is force, and the mechanism against you is force.
And so
all rights are is force.
You're talking about government protections, not rights.
No, not at all. It doesn't. There is no such thing as government protection without force. How do they protect you? What do they protect you with? What do they protect you with? All right, you caught me. That swoosh up top is literally fabulous. In honor of one of my favorite liberals. Beanies are street yarmulkes. Okay, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Simps are like women. They're never wrong, ever. Actually, that's a really good point. Tim Pool just needs a teddy bear and wire-rimmed glasses. Nicholas says he's coping after muff diving on Lauren, trying to get some clout back after Andrew Wilson watching you challenge him that day was a chef's kiss. Yeah, I'm not one to steer away from or bow down to conflict. I'm just not one to walk away from it.
No, I'm talking about rights. What is a right?
He has not thought this through in this way before, because most people.
See, this actually offended me.
Oh, it offended him. Took offense to this. He's not happy that Warren thinks he hasn't thought this position through. He seems he's a bit frustrated, a bit flustered by that.
I'm allowed to be insulted. Okay, these things happen. Warren saying I've not thought this through before is actually substantially the inversion of what I've actually done over the issue of rights and thought them through to a profound degree, more so than most things. What is a right?
What is it?
I have a definition for it. Let's play and you can assess it.
Don't go to this level. When you encounter someone who has.
The reality is, rights are recognized as things that we can and must do to survive and maximize potential.
I think rights are force, and I think that...
You think rights are force?
Government
rights are
protections.
What do you mean rights are force?
Wait a minute, what? But hang on a sec.
Right, to me, is an entitlement absent duty. That's a
okay,
right.
Hold on. Whoa. Rights to me is an entitlement absent duty.
Mm-hmm.
Define entitlement. This is the inherent problem. Let's start here.
Something that's owed to you.
Because I think Andrew's a fantastic guy. But we disagree on this one. And I think largely we're arguing some different things. And this is why I take issue with Warren Smith saying I haven't thought this through, because I think the reality is Warren Smith, I would argue, didn't actually watch the debate, nor did he seek to understand the debate that was happening, which is, why would I say that rights are something we recognize as something we can and must do to survive? This is not an issue of the dictionary definition of rights, which is actually what I argued to Andrew Wilson. He said rights are an entitlement absent duties. Let's pause for a second. How would you define entitlement?
Something that's owed to you. Why
would an entitlement have any association with duty?
Because you can have something that's owed to you as long as there's conditionals for duties for the thing that's owed to you. That's how. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple, right? Like, let's say that you have a duty to enforce law, right? Let's say you have a duty to do so. There may then come certain rights or entitlements that you get by enforcing that said law, right? Now, those entitlements that you're getting there, right, those would be dependent on duty. So I'm not sure I'd call those rights. I would say that a right is an entitlement absent a duty. It'd be what people would consider a right to be. You want to have some more fun after this? Warren responded to Tim's critique of Warren's critique. Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
Herein lies the surface level mistake, I think, that occurs in this debate.
Okay.
An entitlement is always absent duty, so it doesn't need the quality.
No, it's not. Here, we'll pull it up. Yeah, so entitlement. The fact of having a right to something. Okay? And you have rights which have duties. Yes. Rights and duties are fundamentally linked. How? That's pretty simple. You can have certain duties, which as long as you're executing those duties, you have certain rights to, right? Entitlements.
Qualifier absent duty. To me, it's like saying an entitlement absent popcorn. An entitlement is something, it is defined by most people. I understand there's semantics and people sometimes make arguments for different definitions, but typically entitlement means something you have a right to. But hold on then.
Yeah, they're synonyms, but they're not the same word.
How do you define a right as an entitlement when entitlement is defined as a right?
Yeah, again, though, they don't mean the same thing. Even if both of them would point to each other, they don't mean the same thing.
Brain freeze. This is why I don't define rights this way. I try to assess what it is that someone means by a right, and why liberals will say something like healthcare is a human right, and then someone else might argue free speech is a human right. They're clearly arguing two distinct things. Let me play more from the tape, and I'll continue my position.
Right. Okay, you're entitled to it, but you have no duty.
What does that mean?
If you have a right to own a gun, do you have a duty to own a gun?
What is it? But
So, the belief that one is inherently deserving of privileges or special treatment. That'd be a right. Be a better definition. Right?
do you have a duty to speak?
No, you don't
start
have
with
a
the
duty
First
to
Amendment.
speak.
If you have a right to vote, do you have a duty
So
to
you-
vote? The
so
answer is
right,
no.
so it'd be an
That's
entitlement.
your argument.
It's an entitlement
But
absent a duty.
So let's pause. Actually, let's hear from Warren.
The line is drawn on two layers by the laws of physics and the legal framework.
but you can speak,
Yeah, you can.
and so
Until you can't.
The question
Until somebody stops you with force.
You only have a right if you can defend it against.
Right. Fundamentally, it's like this. Let's say we've f***ed all the semantics up. All of them, like everything. He f***ed them up, I f***ed them up, let's just say for the sake of the hypothetical, right? Let's just say we did. This is still the truth. The truth is that you don't have a right to ever unless force is involved. Ever. Because the second that force is absent, then it's just basically what, like a suggestion? Is that is that what it becomes? What is it with you and breaking the brains of bald secularists? They hate your ortho brain with the lush head of hair that covers it. Tim should take the massive L. This was and walk. Thanks for all you do. You're welcome.
Force. Founding fathers made it clear that we've created this framework, but it's up to you to be able to protect it and
Right.
keep it.
So you're talking about government restrictions are made up by us as a people.
Just people can adhere to your rights without any form of government. If you want,
There are many people in the comments saying that I'm unwilling to listen, to accept what he is saying. Andrew Wilson is making a well-known philosophical argument typically associated with anarchism and fascism.
it's not associated with either of those things. Keep fighting the good fight. Here's money for some decent bourbon. Cheers. Appreciate it. It's literally not associated with either of those things. Right? You're talking about two political ideologies. These are not specifically philosophies, but rather political ideologies. I would say that force doctrine applies as a descriptor in all political ideologies and needs to be taken into account in all philosophy.
And that argument is there is no truth but power. The argument he's making about your rights are only what you can enforce, I believe that fundamentally misunderstands the question of what is a right and why do people have different definitions of what a right is. So,
because it's a social construction and doesn't exist absent your brain. Brock Landers sent in 10 gifted memberships. Very kind of you. Right? Appreciate it. Very kind indeed, because, very simply put, you can call a right anything because it's completely made up nonsense. That's why. You can call a right whatever the you want because we made them the up. Totally made up. I have given myself a right to drink this wine. Yes. Yes, I've given myself the right to say yes. Yes. Yummy. You could just declare whatever the you want to be a right. They do it all the time. Human rights. You know, there's all kinds of the humanist rights, the right, democratic rights, personal rights. I mean, you can endlessly just make up whatever the you want to be a right.